Okay, so we're live here with Dre Murray and
Yeah.
Fuad.
Hey, I'm Fuad, interview at Jam the Hype, here talking with Mr. Dre Murray. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good. So, your new album, Dark Vader.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Mixtape. It's just a mixtape.
Mixtape.
Something quick. Yeah. It's just a project that I start and stopped a whole lot. Kind of fumbled my way through the beginning of it, and finally came together actually like towards the end, the very end actually. So, but yeah, it's a project that started as not a joke, but the name Dark Vader kind of started as me just being silly because I like Darth Vader, but then getting into just the complexities of who Darth Vader is, and then thinking about my life and my journey as a believer, kind of, drew some comparisons to just, complexities of a human being. You know what I mean? Like, he was once this and then he became that. The same happened with me, but just in reverse, to where I went from dark to light instead of, being light or a Jedi and going to the dark side. So.
Mm-hmm. So, let's see. Can you tell me about the process of writing and recording your album? Yeah. Like, when did it start? Who did you work with? How did it go?
Yeah, so the mixtape, I think I recorded the first thing for it in May. I recorded Tings first, which was the song we dropped the video for last week. I recorded that in May just after, kind of being frustrated with everything that was going on with Christian hip hop and just hearing certain comments being thrown around and just kind of being frustrated with my personal situation in the game or industry or whatever you want to call it.
What is that? What's your frustration?
Well, at the time it was just, coming off of a project the previous year that Alex and I did. We put a lot of work into that project. We shot a video for every song on the project, did a movie for it. It was the most, as far as visual, it was the most, I did as many visuals for that project as I've done probably over my entire, as far as just music videos, over my entire career. And so we put a lot of work into that, man. And a lot of the stories and the songs were real. So at that particular time, coming out of that and just coming out of everything with my previous album, 34, just getting older and just thinking about what I wanted to do, I was kind of frustrated and just hearing a lot of the rhetoric that was going on within the culture and just things that were being said on and off stage. I just got a little frustrated. And so Tings was kind of me, venting that. And then it started from there. Still wasn't really like a solid project or, a concrete idea until probably mid to late summer. And then from there, I started getting production and started playing around with some things. But then towards the fall, I really started gearing up and recording and just recording songs. Like I started trying to record something every day. I did that, and by the time I looked up, I had a lot of music. So that was pretty much it. Like I said, it came together towards the end. The sound of it, I didn't know what it was going to sound like. It just kind of came together as I decided to, hey, you just need to do something every day.
Yeah. Is there a way that you would describe yourself or describe your musical style to someone? How would you put yourself out to people?
For those that don't know me, those that know me know that I'm a conceptual thinker. So like something like Dark Vader is pretty much right up my alley. Pretty much everything that I have done has been like a conceptual project to where it's a lot of storytelling, a lot of It's almost like a movie. Like I look at stuff like a movie, songs and the entire project. I look at the songs like scenes and so on. And so, you know, I would tell people that I'm a storyteller. At the end of the day, at my core, that's what I am, is just a storyteller. You know what I mean? Like I've always liked to hear stories, you know, whether it be through podcasts, reading books, movies, whatever it is, as long as there's a good storyline and a good story being told. Like with Darth Vader, like just his story as a character is amazing to me. That's why I gravitate towards him. So I'm a storyteller.
Cool. So tell me about the first part of your story, part 1, FDA. What is that about?
FDA, fear, doubt, and anger. So it's just a young boy growing up in Houston, Texas, that had fear because of the environment that he was raised in. He had doubt because, you know, for one, you didn't know if you were going to survive in that environment, and then, you know, just being just awkward because you have all these different things in society telling you who you should be, and so you just doubt yourself all the time, and then it gets to a point where all that just comes to a head, and it's just anger. So I was angry a lot, especially in my teens, like later on in my teens when I left Houston and went to college. And so that song is just the beginning of the journey to get into light. It was almost like I had to go through this really dark phase where, you know, I was really, really close to throwing away my basketball scholarship and going back to Houston and linking up with some of my family members who, you know, were in the drug game and turned into this, trying to be this rap star, almost signing a contract. Like I literally went into my coach's office and told him I didn't want my scholarship anymore. Like I was coming back home, and, you know, I was going to be this rap star.
Can you please elaborate on the story of your youth and being a good basketball player and deciding to be a rapper?
Yeah, so in my neighborhood, man, like, I mean, there's been said many times before, like you are either one of three things. You are an athlete, mainly basketball from where I grew up. You sell drugs, or you're a rapper. And I was around all of those things, the typical, you know, type that's placed on people of color, mainly Black people in the urban setting, is those three things. But we live up to it. So at times you know, there's a lot of people that take a different route, but for the most part, everybody I saw around me, it was those three things. So for me, I chose basketball, or I like to say basketball chose me. I just got into sports really early, and then basketball, I just fell in love with it. And thank God, like my grandmother, I stayed with my grandmother and my mom and my uncles. They got together some money and bought me a basketball goal in my backyard. And so from there, I didn't really leave the backyard a whole lot at times. I just practiced all the time. Every single day I practiced. And I wanted to do that. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be in the NBA. And so that took me to accepting a scholarship to play for Southern Nazarene University, which was a Christian school. I had some offers to go play elsewhere, but my grandmother, before she died, told me that's the school that she wanted me to go to, even though she didn't know anything about it. And so I went there. I committed early to go there. People thought I was crazy. I went there, and it wound up being like one of the best things that's ever happened to me, just being in that environment. So yeah, that's how, you know, basketball was life for me. Like literally, still to this day, basketball, you know, God used that to really keep me out of the street and save my life.
Mm-hmm. Can you please elaborate on your testimony and like how you came to follow Christ? Yeah,
so in college, like I said, I was angry all the time. I was really good at basketball. I was at a smaller school. We had some great competition, but it wasn't like I was playing for Duke or anything like that. But it still was, people were supporting. And as a freshman, I was really, really good. I did some great things. And I just had this ego. Like I was turning into, a egomaniac, like literally. And I, fell into the world of, alcohol and drinking all the time and just doing what I wanted to do and dibbling and dabbling in all kinds of different things. And then, in my sophomore year, like the first semester of my sophomore year, towards the end of my sophomore year, the midpoint, I got sick. I got pneumonia. And it was the first time I thought I was gonna die. Like two of my cousin and one of my friends that played football threw me in the back of the car, rushed me to the hospital, and I literally thought I was gonna die. And I was in my bed for about a week. And during that time, I really had just thoughts of dying and what would happen and having dreams. And, all my life I knew about God. I knew what was right, but I didn't really live what I knew. And it was like I was running from him the entire time. It wasn't like I was oblivious. Like we didn't go to church religiously, but my grandmother was a praying woman. She always talked about the Bible. I knew from a young age. I actually, committed to being a Christian when I was a senior, right after my grandmother passed, or right before my grandmother passed. But that, and then not having anybody to teach me the way or disciple me, that kind of, just fell by the wayside. And so I ran from God for a long time. And then around my sophomore year, like I said, I got sick. My cousin got locked up. My cousin that was like my rap partner and like my best friend got locked up for drugs. A couple other people that we were involved with started getting into trouble. One of my little cousin who was also involved in all this stuff, one of his closest friends got killed. That I knew from when he was like really, really little, just over some stupid stuff. It was just a lot of stuff going on. And I didn't want to die. Like I did not want to die. And so, just one night, I decided that it was time for me to start living the life I knew I should be living. And I just made a commitment to do it. It wasn't, this overly supernatural experience. It was just me literally saying, I surrender, and God won me, and the Holy Spirit doing the rest. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So can you continue to take me through your track list and break down some of the songs?
Yeah. So number 2, I'll do this real quick. Number 2, 93 Coupe de Ville. My cousin Greg had a yellow 1993 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, and he gave me my first job actually at Wendy's, which shout out to Greg. That helped me a whole lot too, as far as there was a lot of people in my life. I don't think they really knew what they were doing. They were just, God used them to really push me in a certain direction. So he was a manager at Wendy's on the southwest side of Houston. I stayed on the southeast side, so I used to have to take a bus to get to work, but I would ride home with him in his 93 Coupe. But side note, on the way to work, riding the bus, sometimes I would get off of the bus and I wouldn't take the transfer route, which would have, drop me off right in front. I would walk probably about 4 miles because the neighborhood that I walked through was right by, in Houston, there's this university called Rice. And there's like, I'm talking like almost, I don't know what the exact price is, but it has to be upwards $400,000, $500,000 homes just homes that I had never really saw up close like that before. And I remember just being around in that environment. Not that I wanted one of those homes. I was like, oh, I'm gonna give me that one day. It was just being outside of, just being in something new, in another environment. I saw another side of life just walking through those neighborhoods all the time. They had malls within the neighborhood that was like, you know, I had never seen anything like that before. And then I would go to work, get off of work, we would ride in the 93 coupe back to the south side. And, you know, I wanted to drive. He would never let me drive, though, because I didn't really have my license, but I always wanted to drive. And so that was just me reminiscing on the time I spent with him in that Cadillac. Next song is We Was Rich to the Bill Came. And that's basically me, you know, almost throwing my life away. Talking about my debt, the debt that I couldn't pay, like that only Jesus could pay. You know, Satan came and he wanted to collect. You know, there was a bill, there was a tab, and I couldn't pay it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I talk about God putting mud on my eyes, and he. One of the songs I talk about God putting mud on my eyes, and he made me royal. Like, that's real. Like, I couldn't believe, you know, that the story of Jesus. Like, at first, me being committed when I was 18, I didn't really get it. But once I got to college, like I said, my sophomore year, I really understood the gravity, the weight of it. Like, I had this debt that I literally could not pay. Like, I was thinking about what would happen if I died, and there was this bill, you know what I'm saying, and I couldn't pay it, but God paid it. So that's that. Production wise too, man, like FDA, produced by Joshua Heath, very talented young brother. 93 Coupe de Ville was produced by Jay Roden, another talented brother. And I linked up with these guys towards the end, man. I had no sound to this project. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really have a sound, man. I was really thinking about my next retail project, and then they came along and just completely flipped things upside down for me. So shout out to them. And then the next song, Black Every Day, is, you know, just about normal, just street stuff, like, you know, talk about the cops. Like, there were always cops in my neighborhood. And I can remember from a young age being told not to talk to the police, and then, you know, going off to college and then coming back home, and the guy that I grew up with that stayed right across the street from me, him not being there anymore, and wondering where he is, and my brother telling me that, you know, he was selling drugs and he was with somebody that was supposed to be, you know, helping him, and it comes to find out that they were, you know, the police. And so things like that happen all the time, and just how I could have been in that environment just because of where I grew up in. So Black Every Day. You're gonna have to help me out with the track listen too.
It's okay. We can come back to it. Let's change. So what is the Black and Gold Collective, and why did you establish it?
Black Gold Creative. Black Gold
Creative. I'm sorry.
So Black Gold Creative, it originally started as just an idea I had of a way to help other young artists. Like I came up in this on, you know, older veterans in the game helping me out. That was how I really got pushed to the forefront and really started you know, being involved in the Christian hip hop community. There's people that was already established helping me out. So I wanted to use Black Gold Creative as something where I helped these artists. Well, over time, over this past year, and the thing is, I've made it known. I don't know if people really caught it, but I've made it known that this is something that because I've for so long I would talk about certain ideas like this, and it would just be an idea for so long, and I wouldn't act on it. I wanted it to be known that this is like a living, breathing thing that's like growing in front of everybody. So it's nothing that's at this particular time. It's still more. That's why there hasn't been like an official announcement of, oh, this is what Black Gold is. There's no website right now. There's nothing, because we're still figuring out what exactly we want it to be. I know that partially is going to be something where we help young artists. I know that I have 4 or 5 artists that I really want to work with closely. I know that I want to, produce film and documentaries and et cetera. Like I narrated No Malice. He did a film with I Am Second. I had the opportunity to narrate that film, so I want to get into doing more stuff like that. So there, and the teaching aspect, I want to, teach. I kind of did some of that this year. So the podcast, there's tons of stuff that I've tried out this year, and none of it is set in stone though. Like people may think, oh, this is what it is. Oh, that's what it is. But none of it is set in stone. It's all of those things right now. But eventually when we launch, you'll know exactly what it is.
Okay. So what is the significance of the number 22 to you and your music and all that? Yeah,
so 22 is my number in college. And
on the basketball team?
On the basketball team, it was my number. And I had never seen, like I wore number 15 in high school. Like my whole high school career, I wore 15. When I got to college, they gave me 22. And I had never seen like a number take life to where there were literally like fans that would have shirts where they call me Deuces. Like they would have Deuces on their shirt and the number 22 on their shirt. So it just became significant for me. And it just stuck with me, man. Like, some people in my family still call me Deuces. But because of that, like I don't say that in public often because I think it sounds kind of cheesy, but that still is something that I respond to. So it's just just my basketball number that my daughter wears 22 now. So it's something I carry.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do you think growing up in Houston and being around the Houston music scene has affected your music?
I don't know if it affected well, musically, I'll say this, like artistically it's affected me in that recording. I started recording at an early age because the music scene in Houston was so independent that you could be 10 years old and making money doing shows around Houston if you knew how to maneuver. Like there were little spots that I never really, did it because of just my nerves, and I was so caught up in basketball at the time. Like a lot of people didn't even know I rap, but there were areas where if you were young, you could still be a superstar. Like there were cats that were, 14, 15, 16 years old. There were dudes in high school, making a lot of money. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with the Houston scene, but there's cats like a Slim Thug or something. Like I remember seeing, Slim Thug a long time ago. We were teenagers and, he had, $40,000, $50,000 cars, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's wild.
18 years old and tons of money, just off of his hustle. So that's musically, it taught me to, not on the artistic side, but just on the business side, it taught me how to just get up and just do, how to do for yourself and how to make it happen. Like what studio equipment do I need? Okay, I'm gonna put this in my house and I'm just gonna record and manufacture it myself and I'm gonna get out and do it. Like artistically, it taught me how to be free with my music. You know what I'm saying? Like I can just get in the studio and come up with something on the spot. Because, we grew up freestyling and we grew up battling and and that type of thing. So, and then my cadence, my cadence as well was affected by Houston. So.
How old were you when you started rapping?
I was 8. I made my first song when I was in the 4th grade.
Wow.
I kind of talk about it a little bit on the album 34, but my neighborhood was severely affected by crack cocaine because we were so close to the Gulf of Mexico, to the border. Didn't know all this at the time, but there was a lot of, crack hit, I think 8 different areas in America first, and Houston was one of them. And so after it hit in 1989 or 1987 or something like that, Nancy Reagan came out with the DARE campaign. It was, fighting against drugs, just say no. And so when around 89, they were still pushing this campaign, we had an opportunity to do something for the DARE campaign. And I decided to make a song about what I saw in my neighborhood and the drugs. And so that was the first song that I actually recorded and made. Was in 8th grade or in 4th grade. I was 8.
Wow. So how old were you when you decided that you wanted to pursue rapping?
Probably around 10 or 11. My uncle just actually, about 3 weeks ago, he used to always have a camera. He was the first person that I knew with a video camera. He filmed everything. I post a little bit of it on my Instagram, but I'm eventually chop it up and make a video. But it's me I was 11 years old. It was 1992. I was 11 years old, and he had tricked me and my cousin that I was talking about earlier that got locked up. He tricked us and told us that his friend in Atlanta was a music producer, and if we did something on the spot, that we could possibly get signed. And so we went in the house and we came out with the Crisscross tape, and we did 2 songs from Crisscross, and we performed it. And I looked at it the other day, and I was like, man, if I was a music producer at that time, I would have signed that kid.
Really?
I was hungry. You got to see, I'm not gassing this up, man. I was hungry. I was like, what was I? I didn't know that I thought I was always shy and nervous, but that he put the camera on and I went, I was on stage for real. It was pretty. My mom even said you were kind of advanced. So I think I knew at that point, this is what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. How did that deal with you also pursuing basketball? Because you said you rejected a scholarship, or?
I took the scholarship, but I almost handed it back. I didn't. I graduated and, finished and did my thing, but I almost handed it back. But what was your question though?
That was it. I was just wondering, so you said you wanted to be a rapper when you were 10 years old, but you were also really good at basketball and you went to college to play basketball.
Yeah.
So how did those things go together? Was there a time where you decide, man, I just want to, stop basketball and pursue rapping now?
Yeah, so it was actually the other way around. So I was ultimately in Houston, man, it's they call it Hustle City. So I'm, sorry, my contact. I was bred to be a hustler, always just going and doing something. And so when I felt I wanted to rap, that didn't push basketball aside. It was just I have 2 options now. You know what I'm saying? You're looking for the options, and these are my 2 options. I made good grades in school, and I remember talking about being an architect when I was younger, but I was I have no idea what that even means. I just would say that, architect. I didn't know the first thing about how to get started. You know what I'm saying? There was nobody to show me that, but I had a basketball, I had a goal, I had Jordan to watch. He could show me how to do it. I had that example. I had rappers around me. You know what I'm saying? Like they could show me how to do it. That was easy. I picked that up. Okay. I got somebody over here selling drugs. If I want to do that, I could do that, or I could stay over. You know what I'm saying? Like there's those were the options. So it wasn't either or. It was just you were looking for your way out of the environment, and those were the options and the choices that I had. And so I wrote them out. Now, as I got into basketball, I think, probably ninth grade, because I went to a high school that really was like known for basketball and very competitive. I didn't really rap as much. I focused on basketball heavy. And then when I turned 18, I started trying to juggle both. And that's when I went into college and I almost handed my scholarship back.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, can we go back to your track list?
Yeah. You
right.
tell me the songs that you want me to talk about so I don't get.
What is part 2 so evil about?
So part 2, obviously the continuation of part 1. And it's just me, like in the chorus, I say, look at all the pretty people. They tell me to keep my eyes on the cross and the steeple. Like, people are telling me, come to God, trying to, witness to me and get me to come to church and this and that. And I'm seeing all these people that have it together. Like in my school, I was in an environment where I was around a lot of people that weren't from my culture. They weren't, wasn't a whole lot of black people at my school or in the community. And so I saw all these people that it seemed like they had it all together. Like we would go to chapel and, it just seemed like they had it all figured out and had it all together. So I would look at them and then I look at me and I'm like, man, I'm evil, man. Like how can I live for God? I don't get it.
Did you go to Christian school?
Yeah. Like I said, I went to a Christian school. So there was chapel, there was, believers on campus that tried to witness to me. We had to take theology class, so that was in front of me all the time. So yeah, it was all around me. That was part of my journey, I believe, is going to that school. But looking around, you just see all these pretty things and all this, like it didn't, I'm literally like, I'm from like the hood. Like people talk about being from the hood. Like I'm from one of the worst parts in Houston. I didn't like that environment was like a complete different environment. Like you're talking about polar opposites, bro. Like polar opposites. Like I really wasn't around. Like my coach was white, but I really wasn't around like, white people like that. I didn't know how to maneuver in those environments, and then just hearing them talk, and I had to get, I don't know how to put it, man, like without being weird, but yeah, I was in an environment that I wasn't used to, and I saw all these things that I was like, man, I could never be, and even it wasn't just white people, because there were some black professors there. But it was just like everything was just like, this is how you guys expect me to be. At least that's what I thought, that I'm just supposed to change like that. But I felt like I was evil. Like I felt like I couldn't change.
Mm-hmm. So, what is Simple Math about?
Simple Math was like, sometimes I hear stuff. Sometimes what? You need to change? I'm in your room and you need to change. You just need to grab your, just grab your deal. Can you change in there? Grab your stuff and change it in. That's all right. They can't see you. You're all good. Just grab your stuff so you can go in there. My bad, man.
Okay.
Real life, man. Real life over here. What do you need, man? Oh, you want this? You want these? Appreciate you. Can you close the door? Thank you. My bad, bro. So Simple Math. Sometimes I hear stuff, whether it be online, whether it be I read something, whether it be whatever it is, and I just want to write about what I just heard. And so Simple Math was me kind of responding to what the culture was doing at the time. So it was another, almost like Teens, it was me, you know, venting and just sharing my frustrations with certain things. So.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about It Was All Good Yesterday?
Yeah, It Was All Good Just Yesterday. There was a song from, people may know it, from the 90s from Jay-Z called It Was Good just a week ago. And so I kind of flipped that to where, you know, it was all bad a week ago, but it was all good just yesterday. So it's me talking to somebody that, you know, if a week ago if things were bad, but yesterday things were good, it's like they've had a change for the good within that time period. And so now it's this person thinking about going back to a week ago. And I'm like, bro, like just yesterday you were saying it was all good. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't listen to these people telling you. It's basically me having a conversation with myself, kind of like after the So Evil. It's like, I felt like I was this evil person. I changed, you know, God completely changed me. And I started living this life. And then I had people, you know, trying to tempt me to do things that I used to do, and me, you know, pondering on, you know, whether this life is for me. Again, going back to that mindset of, man, look, I can't be that good. I can't live like that. So it's me saying, yo, bro, like it was really bad a week ago, and just yesterday you were saying how good it was, you know, but now you want to go back to that, like you want to go back to the darkness after being exposed to the light. So, you know, that's pretty much what that was about. Okay.
Can you tell me about your album cover? It's pretty interesting.
It's interesting. It's a mixtape too, man. Like I don't mean to.
I'm sorry, man. That's just the word I revert to.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want people to feel like, because everybody's been asking, like, is it gonna be on iTunes and Spotify? Like, no, this is a mixtape I wanted to give to the people. So, that's why it's so short, and some of the songs are just one verse. But the album cover is a picture that I took during the 34 sessions. Actually, Karsten Weingart, who works with me, you know, with Black Gold, took the picture, and then my guy JR Jr. Zombiac Designs. He's a Darth Vader Star Wars nut just like me. And he designed the original cover, which had the back of the mask. You can kind of see the front, but really the back of the Darth Vader mask. And so we were running with that, you know what I'm saying, like that cover. But it's been up for so long, I don't know if he felt like I needed something new, or he was just inspired by what was coming out. But he just texted me that, was like, bro, I've been working on something, and just texted it to me. And it, you know, it fits because of me grabbing the hood and just you can kind of see the mask in the front. So, you know, there's no deep spiritual story behind it. Like, I just feel like he did his thing with that, and it goes well with the whole theme of the project.
So, I guess you're happy about Star Wars, the new movie coming out soon?
I'm nervous, man, because I don't want it to be. I want it to feel like everything that's come out. I want it to feel like The Force Awakens, but I don't want it to be the same story over again. Like the complaint that, especially older people that saw the original Star Wars when it first came out, like I've had conversations with some of those people, and they're like, it's the same story. Like it's just repeating the story with just a new cast and this and that. But for me, Force Awakens, I was like excited because it was, you know, we hadn't got a Star Wars movie in forever, and then it was kind of like you're bringing some of the old back, and it was just nostalgic. This one, you know, now they gotta Disney has to come with it, man. So I'm hoping that it's a new story. I still want to see Darth Vader in it, though. But I hope it's a new story and it's dope.
Yeah. So how do you think your family affects your music? Besides Play Me at Your Wedding. I really like that song.
Thank you, man. Thank you. They keep me humble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking to you about my project, and then my daughter comes in and she's like, yo, you're in my room. I got to change. I don't care that you're Dre Murray. Like, so they keep me humble. So, you know, that's really how they affect my art is by creating this balance to where, like this weekend, like there was a lot of people showing me love this weekend. And, you know, whenever you put out a project, there's a lot of good that comes with it, but I'm always careful to associate them with it and pull them in and like, this is what I'm doing, but also like go to them for that balance. You know what I'm saying? Take out the trash.
Yes. So what do you like to do outside of music?
Basketball. I love basketball. Like we've been talking about that. I still play.
Do you have a favorite team?
I was riding with the Thunder for a long time, man, and they were, you know, they were my team. They weren't like, if I was to miss a game, I wouldn't be upset. I don't care that I've never been to a game. You know, I've been to one game, I think. But so I don't really have a team. You know, I watch them. I'm in Oklahoma. You know, I like them. I root for them. I talk trash to people that, you know, talk trash. You know what I'm saying? But they're not like my team. Like I'm not in front of the TV every single time they're on, type of deal. People may think that, but that's not what it is. So I don't really have a team.
Okay. So what can Dre Murray fans expect in the future?
Dre Murray fans can expect some more music. God willing, film. And then, you know, the whole Black Gold creative push is definitely coming soon. So
what are some film ideas that you're interested in making?
I have a few, bro. Like I can't really
talk about them.
Yeah, I can't really talk about it.
All right.
But I do. I have a few ideas that I want to get off. So
cool.
Yeah.
Dre, do you have any directors or anybody that you want to work with on that side?
Just directors or?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like cinematographers or, you know, guys you think are real creative you want to collab with.
I haven't really thought that deep into it. Like, I really want to do something independent where, you know, it's I do have a friend that was actually my wife's friend first that she went to high school with. That he was I always forget Opie's name. What's Opie's name? I just call him Opie. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? No, Ron Howard. He was Ron Howard's apprentice for one of his movies, and then he dang it, I forgot the guy's name, but Josh, I forgot his last name. He's one of the executive producers for Iron Man, and Jeremy Latcham, my wife just called Jeremy Latcham. They went to the high school with my wife, and so Jeremy stays in LA. His parents still live here, but the other guy, Jacob Snobble, he lives in Oklahoma City. He does a bunch of independent film work. So those are the two guys that I know that I have connections with that I would like to work with. Jeremy does a lot of the Marvel stuff, that's like out of my realm. Like I don't have any desire to touch any of that type of stuff. But Jacob really is into like the story piece, like the novel. So I really want to work with him. So I really just want to work with independent guys, man, and just kind of get my own ideas off and get my feet wet. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't really put anything out. So
I got a question. So, do you have a favorite Dre Murray song of all time?
Wow. Favorite Dre Murray song of all time is probably gonna change, bro. Like there's so many songs that I love. But I will say Play Me at Your Wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah. Play Me at Your Wedding is probably number one for me.
You got a while still before you can play that at a wedding, though.
Yeah, man. Thank God. Yeah, man. They need to be young, as long as I can keep them young, man. Because time goes by so fast, bro.
Yeah, one of your songs that's probably among my favorite is More Than Life. I saw it on a Wado radio compilation article of like top Christian hip hop worship songs, and I listened to it a lot when I was going through a difficult time in life, and I thought it was really uplifting and encouraging.
Wow. That's dope, man.
Yeah,
man. Like that song, yeah, that probably would be probably that's top 3 or 4 for me. It's in there. I perform that song probably more than any other song, and I've gotten more feedback off of that song than any other song. Just because of, and I mean, it was so like the way we put that song together was so random, and it just like God used it to help a whole lot of people. So appreciate that.